Hello everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood Scurvy here, and this is going to be one of the more important videos here on the channel. I just designated it as such, but I think it really is important, and I think it's a message that kind of needs to get out there a little bit more, and that would be big tech covering up a lot of important shit that's happening in our country right now. What made me want to go on this little spiel was the fact that, Wikipedia thinks cultural Marxism is a conspiracy theory. So if you don't know what cultural Marxism is, it's basically trying to destroy a culture from the inside by offering it, a bunch of sounds good on stuff theory, but in reality it's awful. That's just a very, very simple way of putting what this pretty big concept is. If you want to listen to somebody who is way more knowledgeable on different forms of Marxism, you could listen to the New Discourses podcast hosted by Dr. James Lindsay. I think I'll have a link in the description down below. But basically, what this tells me, somebody who likes to think critically, when big tech designates something as a conspiracy theory, it's most likely something probably worth looking into. And no, I'm not talking about stuff like, the lizard, Obama's a lizard person, or chemtrails or other stupid shit like that, stuff that could easily be disproven. But we're talking stuff like, well, once again, cultural Marxism. And then here's something that I learned last night, actually. And this is what made me want to do a second take on a previous audio recording of this video. And it's called mass formation psychosis. This is something else that's happening in our country right now as we speak. I think I'll have an article by Robert W. Malone. He's a psychologist. But basically, what this is like, it's the psychology that basically Hitler used to get into power back in the 1930s. You rile up a crowd, well enough with something pretty hopeful, right? We'll actually use current day as it is, I think he also uses this example in his article too, with all the stuff about COVID-19. Well, scratch that, Cooties 19. You can't say the actual name of it here on YouTube. Why? Censorship. This video will probably be marked as medical misinformation, I bet. Fun! But basically, the way that this kind of happens is, you rally up people with a certain narrative, right? It's only gonna be 15 days to flatten the curve, and if we do that, we're gonna beat this virus, right? However, viruses don't exactly die within 15 days. Lockdowns in general just don't work, but that's a video for another day. But basically, you keep you hammer in this one specific message. If we just stay indoors, the virus will go away. There will be no reason there's not a reason for the average person to be going outside. There's this deadly pandemic. It's deadly. You're hammering in that blatant falsehoods about something. As more and more data has come out about Cooties 19 and all its several variants, we learned that it's not deadly, especially if you're someone like me, a young 20-something, in shape. Well, I could always be in more shape than I am now. The chances of someone like me dying is so low. Seriously, I'm more likely to be struck by lightning or get into a car accident than die from cooties. But anyways, back to mass formation psychosis. I was getting a little sidetracked. That happens. But, you just have to keep hammering in the message for most of the people to really follow along with you. Of course, the narrative is faulty, just like Hitler's 1930s propaganda. It's faulty because we didn't have an understanding on like genetics and shit back in the 30s. And so, as things got crazier and crazier, like, and then you also add an enabling population to the mix, as they're just like completely, they agree with the message. They agreed with the first innocent message, right? We'll use Germany, 1930s Germany, right? We have to get our economy back. We need to have a better economy. People agree with the message because, hey, they don't want to be poor. At the time, like, people were legit burning, German money because it was basically worthless. Hyperinflation really did just completely destroy the German economy. And so you had this guy who was like, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I could get it. I think Nazi Germany economic policy is something a little too complicated for an orange mimosa to be talking about. That if only I was a history professor, that's something I could do. But I'm not, so I can't. But it starts out something tame, right? I'm repeating myself here, but it doesn't hurt to nail the point in. However, you get people agreeing with the initial message, and so what you do is you start increasing the craziness of this message, do something, it started with stuff like, COVID toe, and people actually believed the lie. People believed the lie because they were scared. It was the hip new virus that was going around. Like, understandable. People were scared. And so it's like, oh my goodness, this could cause my toe to look all swollen and shit. And so, once again, you just increase it again, and then you do some other crazy shit like, oh, COVID causes brain damage. And it just keeps on going. And then, hey, that's part of why we're at where we're at right now. And that's a simple summary of how mass formation psychosis works. There will be people who will disagree with the message, and those are the people that are gonna get targeted hard, especially with the way social media works. Like, it's not gonna be pleasant. You're probably gonna get, if the person harassing you is a special kind of crazy, you're probably gonna get doxxed or some kind of shit like that. But regardless, that's enough of that. As to why big tech is trying to cover information like this up, well, most likely it benefits them economically, but I also want to say that, I think there is, big tech really does have quite an influence on our lives. I mean, I'm fucking posting this video on YouTube Odyssey as well. I have an Odyssey channel too. Though Odyssey isn't big tech. And if anything were to happen to this YouTube channel, you know where to find me. I'm on Odyssey. But anyways, enough about that. Ultimately, since big tech is doing so well, they got us really good with just trying to hook us on small dopamine hits. That's a way you could actually, control people in a way. You could control them by, just making them just feel comfortable all the time. Give them that dopamine hit for both the viewer and the creator. And it's just like it's actually pretty insidious. If you really think about it, it's pretty insidious. And so as people want to, they want to be recognized by other people, right? I mean, you see this all the fucking time on Twitter when, you'll see vast amount of likes on just things that just aren't true coming from the mainstream. But since people don't want to do their own research, it's like as soon as they hear somebody go against the grain on whatever narrative is being pushed, that like actual information that could debunk the mainstream narrative, it's like the Twitter NPCs are just gonna go crazy. They're gonna go crazy and they're gonna call you an ism, a bigot, or whatever, because or I guess in the case of COVID, it's like, do you want grandma to die? Or just other nonsense like that. And just like that's what I mean when it's so easy to just control people through social media. I even see this with my friends in real life, like, because they don't really know how to how to really read an article. Like, I mean, I'm guilty of this too every now and then, where it's just like that, the headline, they just read the headline and maybe the first paragraph, but most people just read the headline and then they get outraged. They don't actually read the article. They just read the headline and then they just get outraged, and so the media allows them to continue pushing lies. It's really that simple. Just start reading shit. That's how you can really free your mind if we're talking in like hippy dippy psychedelic terms. But as to why, as to why I'm even making this, it's like I do want to pose a question and also answer said question of at what line is it like not a conspiracy anymore? Like, and to answer that question, it's best that we look into the past. Back in the around the end of World War II, people thought the concentration camps were just a conspiracy theory. Like, they thought that it's like, oh, that's, if they are real, they're probably not all that bad, right? But I mean, not every community in Germany was like that. Some people actually knew what the concentration camps were really doing. But the thing is, sorry, just had to close the window for a second. But the thing is, it's like, then the proof actually came out that, holy shit, they were using these camps to kill a shit ton of Jewish people. And so, I guess to say it another way, it's just like, if you could find a logical slope from A to B to C to D, or all the way to the other alphabet letters, it's probably not a conspiracy at this point. Like the Great Reset. Although, I'll get into that another time. I hope I tried to make this as clear as possible. But hey, what could you do? It's an unscripted video that's for like 15 minutes long. I don't know. Well, if you're still here, thanks for listening, and probably watching the gameplay in the background of whatever game it is. And I hope you enjoy your day, and cheers to 2022, hopefully being better than 2020 or 2021.